Okay, friends, here is another unboxing video from our recent home library reveal that we surprised our kids with. This is another order from Reformation Heritage Books. If you saw previously, I've ordered from them and done an unboxing video as well. As I've been doing a lot of research for the resources that we'd like to have in our home library. Looks like our friends were feeling very grateful for this big order. We've got tons of these stickers. That's cool. I've done a lot of research to find resources that I thought would really enrich our home library and diversify it too. And I can tell you from all my digging that Reformation Heritage has such a wealth of the items that I want in our home library, and for the very best prices. They're so reasonable. So I would highly recommend checking them out. I've purchased a lot of children's books from them, but they do have a lot of adult books too. So this you can hardly see really, but this is a huge book. I was never very interested in Martin Luther, and so I never really knew that he was married. But we do have a board book about their family, and my kids are fascinated by it, and so I thought my daughter would really enjoy this picture book, and it looks very lovely. This one, I just noticed a little ding on the cover. That's too bad. It's brand new, and I'm sure that they would exchange it for me, but I figure my kids are going to end up dinging these books up anyways, just with time and wear and tear. It's going to happen. So, this is very interactive. Okay, so I did not know that this was like a pop-up book. The pages are pretty thick. This one is just a bunch of legends that different cultures have of the flood. So I'm interested to get into this myself. And I'm sure that as we explore history more and more, the flood is such a pivotal belief to hold in order to truly understand history. And so, this will be an interesting book of perspectives. Obviously, there's probably going to be a lot of wonky ideas in here, but there's no denying that the flood really happened, so this just reinforces that. Wow, I'm really getting kind of swept up in all of these little layers of the book. Anyways, and I think that this one is also from Master Books, the homeschool curriculum. If not that, I'm pretty sure you can find it on Ken Ham's Answers in Genesis stuff. All right, this one looks sweet. Obviously, we're modeling an example of biblical marriage to our children, but it's always great to have that in books, and especially one that is really talking about it. I think that's pretty special to have around. And because we've been diving into what the Old Testament says about the moon, of how it was the moon and the stars and the sun were made for signs and seasons, I'm wanting to do more of a dive into astronomy with the kids over time and seeing a little bit more about how we can notice those shifting of the times. So that's what I thought that book was about. Side note and spoiler, it wasn't. It was actually about a miscarriage. And that hit really close to home and actually brought up a lot of deep feelings in my daughter and I when we read it. We both wept. So I'm still really glad that we got it, though. I think that's going to be a really special book to have around. And then this one, obviously, is a lot of history. But this goes back to what I was saying about the flood, and I've been talking to my husband about this a lot lately because I started researching it myself. When I was taught history, I feel like it started with like Egypt and then Rome and then Europe, and it's this kind of concept of like it was all happening right there, and then we only spread, like people only spread to Europe and then to America, and so how were they everywhere else too? And anyways, I just think this is going to be super fascinating because there's so much evidence of people being spread throughout the earth, really from the time of Eden, and then a lot of that got buried with the flood, and then people spread out very quickly throughout the world afterwards too. So anyways, tons of fascinating stuff. Here's another box set of this series called Trailblazers. If you've seen some of my other videos, this is different from the series called Trailblazer Books. It's a little confusing, but this one is from Christian Focus. So we're collecting those. They're just nice little chapter books. Oh, more stickers. Okay, this is another Christian Focus series. It's called the Adventure Series, if you're looking it up. They're written by all different authors, and they focus on different parts of the world, not specifically like countries or continents, like in this case, African or Scottish Highland. But a lot of very different specific places, and that are written from personal experiences, short little chapters. They're true stories, recountings, but they also end on kind of a devotional note. Okay, this is the second box in this order. The bulk of what we purchased, I would say, came from Reformation Heritage Books. Let me get all of these out of the box here and I'll get it out of the way. As I'm going through too, I'm noticing on my order form here that there's a lot of the books that I ordered on back order. So here's another one in the Adventure series. I'm seeing that there's a lot of other ones that I'm missing. They just are on back order, and so I'll do another unboxing whenever I get those. This is a whole bunch more books from Douglas Bond. I really enjoyed his book on Luther, and I wanted to get a bunch of his other books just for myself to read. Eventually the kids will get to enjoy these too as read-alouds or personal reads. I just really appreciate historical fiction. I feel like it makes different time periods so much more accessible and like personal. Most of what I remember through history is from nonfiction. I had thrifted a copy of a book from this series from Moody Publishers off Thrift Books, but now they have, it looks like, redone all the covers, and these are so pretty. So I got a whole bunch of these. I know my daughter's going to enjoy these eventually, but I'm going to enjoy reading them myself too. I'm super curious about this story. Okay, and then we have a couple more from this series called History Lives, which is another Christian focused publications. This was not in any of the box sets. This is kind of a standalone Trailblazers book. But I wanted to get that one because the kids like William Tyndale and the Torchlighter series from Voice of the Martyrs. So these History Lives books, I'm super excited about reading myself, and then, of course, just having them as a resource for the children. We've got the first one and the last one here, and I had thrifted one in the set from Thrift Books some time ago just to check it out and see if I would want to get the whole series, and so now I'm kind of picking away at that. As you've heard me mention Thrift Books before, it really is a great place to get used books if you can't find them at Goodwill, and I have a referral link in the description box. This book I really knew nothing about, and then I must have read the synopsis and I was like, oh, we have to have this book. It's just a sweet story. It sounds like about a girl whose faith is just really vibrant. So then these are a couple more of these hidden heroes. So we've got Southeast Asia and Papua Indonesia. I'm sure there's going to be some really, really cool testimonies in here. As far as I know, these stories in this Hidden Heroes series are from like unknown missionaries, people we wouldn't have known from in history. And then there's another History Lives book. This one I didn't realize was the second book in a series, so now I need to go find the first one. But again, this is just looks like another great story for the kids. I did think this was going to be a bigger chapter book, but I'm glad that it's small. The kids will enjoy that. And then this one I grabbed mostly for myself as of now, but the kids are both so interested in the earliest Martyrs because of watching the Torchlighter series and Perpetua's story. So I'm not sure if there's a retelling of Perpetua's story in this book, but it looks like there's a lot of other testimonies. So that's good to have on hand too. If anybody needs some stickers, I guess you can just let me know and I'll send you a few. I've got some to spare. All right, and this is the rest of these Douglas Bond books. Super curious about this one. I think he designs a lot of the cover work too. The cover work is always very compelling. He has a couple trilogies as well, which I would like to eventually add to our collection, but as of now, I just got these more standalone ones. This one I'm so curious about. I want to know more about this history. There's a couple really great looking chapter book series on the Huguenots, and I've never really read anything about John Calvin, so I'm very curious about that one as well.